What's going on? Ryan Troy back with another video for you today. And in this video, I'll be giving you my review on the Godox iT30 Pro. Now, this is a flash. It has high-speed sync. It has TTL, and it also acts as a wireless trigger. It's touchscreen. On paper, this thing has a lot of things that just seems like a no-brainer. But as you know on my channel, if it's one thing I'm going to be is honest. And I went ahead on and I tested this thing out, and it may not be for everybody. So stick around while I get to those things that make me feel that way. So let's start with the basics. The iT30 Pro is a compact TTL flash that is part of the Godox X wireless system. So you could use it as a master or a slave. It's super lightweight, weighing at about 120 grams, and the guide number is 15, which is about 49 feet. So it should let you know from there, this isn't meant to replace your Godox AD200 or V1. The recycle time is actually pretty quick at 1.5 seconds at full power. Also, you could get 560 full power shots. Now, this thing is charged by USB-C, which is kind of cool because you can, use a power bank when you're on the go to charge it up. Now, this thing does TTL, manual, and high-speed sync at 1/8,000th of a second, which is pretty impressive. Now, the thing about it is it doesn't tilt or swivel or anything like that, which we will get into a little later. But what that means is you are subject to only be able to do direct flash. You know, that paparazzi look that a lot of people like to do. So let's go into my real world scenarios, right? I wanted to be able to test this out and, just see how it performs. So I tested it in the studio. I also tested it outside the studio. Now, when I stepped further back, of course, because this is direct flash, right? It's coming directly from where the camera is. It's not giving you the most flattering light. It's not reaching the subject at all times, whether it's full power or not. You can definitely tell the difference between being further back and being closer up. And another thing that I also noticed is because it sits so low on the camera, when you are using like a longer lens, like for instance, my 24-70, if I'm wide, like at like a 24 or whatever, like, focal distance, you will see a semicircle shadow on the side, and the reason, or the bottom, depending on how you hold the camera. And the reason is because it sits so low. And this is something that we used to run into when a lot of cameras had pop-up flashes. If you wanted to put a longer lens on it, the reason is because that flash, it doesn't cover, or it's not, big enough to go over that lens that is hitting that lens, and now that shadow from that lens is coming in the photo. Now, if you zoom in a little bit, or if you zoom in, you won't really see it that much. That is one thing I will say. So same thing, 24-70, if you zoom in, you don't have to worry about seeing that shadow. But if you are going to be shooting a little wider, then you will. Now, if you have a lens that is smaller, like I use my Z50 Mark II with the kit lens, no problem whatsoever. It doesn't matter if I'm zoomed all the way out or whatever, because that lens is so small, you don't have to worry about that. Now, the thing about it is Godox did send me this because I brought this up to them, and they sent me this. Now, this right here, let's see if you can see this. This right here is the Godox TR, and it says N because it's made for Nikon. And essentially what this does is you just take the trigger or the flash and you put it in there. Now, this thing also does high-speed sync and other things like that. But just see if you can see exactly what it is that it done to it. So basically what that does is it lifts it a little bit. And what I will say is it actually works. All right, moment of truth. Oh no, it worked. Yeah, it worked. Look at that.
Hey.
All right, so let me take a couple more. On my 24-70, when I had this in my camera with this little piece right here, it did fix it. I thought that was pretty cool. Now, here's the thing. I want to give you another thing on this right here. On the side right here, you have a little knob that you can go left and right. Let's see if you can see that. And what that does essentially is narrow and make it wide, right? So right here is wide, where they put that diffusion plate right there, where it can spread more, and then when it's narrow, like it's, more focused like that. So, that is a good thing to have when it comes to this. But keep in mind, if you have a longer lens, you're gonna run into that problem when it comes to this right here. And when you add, this second piece, it starts to wonder, like, should you just go with a traditional speed light? Or should you get this and buy this as well, which could, end up being a little costly. I will have links in the description so you could just see exactly what the prices are on this right here, because prices change and stuff like that. And I don't want to give like a price and then it changes. Now, I don't know if I spoke about this already, but this is a touch screen, and this can act as a trigger. In fact, when I was outside, I used it directly for flash, but then after that, I just decided, let me pull out my lights and everything, because I didn't really like the look that it was given. And then I used it as a trigger. Now, one thing that I will say is when you are using this, one thing I do not like is when you're using it as a trigger, it's A, B, and C. It doesn't go no further than that, unfortunately. That's all you have is just 3 lights that you can control. Now, for many people, you know what I mean, that'll be good. Like, is this supposed to be your trigger? No, just the fact that it works as one is good. And a lot of the other flashes work as that as well. Like, they work as triggers as well. But the difference between that is just the simple fact that this fits anywhere. Like, this isn't anything that's going to take up significant, space in your camera bag. And in fact, I can just pop this thing in my pocket. Let me see if you can get that right there. Look at that, just chilling in the pocket. Probably went kind of low because I backed up away from the mic. So to wrap this up, let me just speak about who I think this flash is made for. Now, as I said earlier, they don't really make cameras like that, or professional cameras like that will pop up flashes. I think this would be something good to have just when you are in like an emergency situation and you need a little light, right? I think that this can work very great for that. Also, if you are somebody that's buying a smaller camera, maybe, because they make a lot of smaller lenses for like Sony and stuff like that, you probably could get away with something like this. Another thing that you may want this for is, let's say you are on location shooting, and let's say just the background is a little dark, or let's say you're shooting in a car. I've done, shots or shoots before where a person was sitting in a car, and you may want to like fill out that car shadow a little bit, right? It's so small, you could throw a little gel on this thing right here and pop some color into the background and just use this as literally just a fill light or an ambient light in certain situations. You could get real creative when you have something like this. It's just like continuous flashes, where you may see like little small continuous flashes, and you may, or not flashes, I'm sorry, continuous LED lights, where you may use it for like an accent light or something like that. This will make a wonderful accent light with it being as small as it is. You can put this on a little magic arm, you know what I mean? And like put this and aim this in different directions and really bring your photos to life without having to worry about, going around with all of these speed lights, which, could be like, I wish I had one next to me, could be like this size right here, right? And like the small one may be like that. But look how small this is. Like, boom, it's hidden. You don't see it anymore. So, I think that it would be good for that. Now, if you want this to be your main flash, no. Like, it's not made for that, no. But this thing is one thing that I like to call things are luxury products. This is a luxury product, and I'll explain what I mean by that, like I always do. Luxury products are things that you have that you don't necessarily need, right? Like a V100 or I believe it's V100s, or the V1 or whatever. those are things that you need, right? An actual strobe, right, is something you need. Just like the AD100, this isn't something you need, but you grab these because there are things that you can do things with, right? You know how to use your imagination and create things like that. So that's why you get a product like this. This is a luxury product. It's not a necessity, but it fits a purpose and you could get some good things with it. Along with this, you know, like I said, they sent me this right here, the TR, just to extend this. But the best thing about this as well is, like I said before, you know, this also gives you high speed sync. I believe it gives you high speed sync and TTL. I'm gonna do my research and just put that. Like I said, I only got this because of this. Unfortunately, I can't give you like a real review of everything this thing could do besides lift that up, because I know they did not make this just for this. It just so happens to work. So either way it go, Ryan Troy, into the next video. Peace.